My name is Ravi Pithala. I'm a pre-sales consultant for A10 network at Redington Gulf. And today's agenda for the session is enabling the full visibility for Zero Trust Network and our product, which is SSLi solution overview. So if you have any query or a question, you can write down into the question and answer window. And once I finish the session, I will answer all of your questions. So let's get started. So these are just the numbers that I want to show you. You might be aware about it, but if we speak the average cost of the data breach in 2019, it was around 3.9 million. That was the cost uh, of the data breach, and this was reported by the IBM Security and Phenomenon Institute. And 65% has been rise in the Trojan-based malware, and 90% breaches has been caused by phishing attack. And again, there are different way by which you can do the phishing. So what are the impact of the data breaches is, of course, the main impact is the loss of revenue, brand damage, and in a devastating blow to almost 20% of the Facebook's 2.3 billion users, several unprotected databases were disclosed online that contained around more than 400 records of the Facebook user, which was reported by one of the research from TechCrunch. The database were found on a server and had no password protection in place, which meant they were freely accessible to anyone with an internet connection. So this is one of the biggest breach that is we have identified last year. And you can see the map as well, and they cause more damage than ever. And most importantly, if you get breach, there is hefty fine which you have to pay because you don't follow any compliance. And if you get breached, then there's a hefty fine for that as well. So all the attacks are launched from outside. Is it true? More often than internal threat actors are to be blamed for such attacks. Any user within the trusted internal network has high legitimate access to resources, has conscious intent to cause harm. So who is an internal threat actor? A malicious insider or any employee, an imposter who technically is an outside the corporate spy. Internal threat actors are generally not aware of a damage they are causing, or they has no conscious intent of causing harm, a careless or negligent insider. So this can be an internal actor. So to resolve that, we have a lot of company has started to implement the zero trust. So that is basically a strategy that they have implemented to solve this internal and external threat issue. So this is a conceptual model driving an architectural change. The concept have around for a long, but finally vendor and customer are implementing it, and it's demand major architecture change into the security. So in zero trust, visibility is the key. Visibility into the users, data, workflows, network, etc. Basic. So this is what we discussed. So basic principle of the zero trust. It's redesign network into into a secure micro parameter network. Limit excessive user privilege. Improve detection and response time through analytics and automation. Enable the compliance, improve security detection and response with centralized visibility and control. So encryption you can implement to actually get into the all of the traffic, because most of the traffic now is around on encrypted channel, 90% of the traffic. And if you introduce the deep inspection, that introduce a new challenge and complexity. So it gives you privacy, but it can hurt your security as well as your speed. And how big the blind spot is. So more than 40% of the cyber attacks abuse the SSL encryption, as per the Google Transfer Encrypt report last year. And 94% of the internet traffic is encrypted as we speak. So how the traditional defense failed due to the SSL blind support. Different security devices are meant to tackle different phases of a cyber attack. And here I have identified the phases as infiltration, command and control, and exploitation. So first is infiltration, the stage where an attacker is either actively targeting your network and trying to install a malware, or when an insider accidentally download an infected file or click a malicious link. So here the email or the website involved may be encrypted, which would lead to a traditional IPS firewall antivirus device being blind to this hidden threat. The second is command and control, the stage where the malware started to execute and is trying to establish a connection to the outside server and spreading laterally throughout the network. And last is the exploitation. So this is the last stage at which point the malware has spread throughout your network, has established communication within the CNC server, that is external server, and it is aware of a critical file that it needs to smuggle out or even encrypt your whole data. So when we talk about this zero trust model will also fail without decryption, because visibility is the key. But visibility requires more than simple upgrades. NSS Labs says typical NG firewall experience up to 90% of the performance degradation with decryption. And if you go and check any of the datasheet vendor, datasheet of any firewall vendor or the next generation firewall vendor, nobody has, or I would say 95% of the vendor hasn't published their SSL throughput, because it drastically reduces the performance of the firewall. Most importantly, decryption is the key for the zero trust. So you need to have a solution which can do the decryption as well. So what's the solution? Performance hit at every appliance or no TLS encryption? So you can see right now, if you don't have the decryption, there is no single point for decryption policy and the management. And expensive upgrade is also required with the rising demand. So if you're going to do the manage each device encryption and decryption individually, you will need to upgrade your device's performance in future. So what's the solution? Whether you hit a performance at every appliance or just try to avoid the TLS SSL encryption. So what we are suggesting, the solution is a dedicated decryption device that provides full visibility into the entire security infrastructure, enhance efficiency or existing security infrastructure. It is a vendor agnostic and provide flexible deployment option, is easy to operationalize and use. It should provide you centralized visibility for the analytics as well as management. So is decryption, policy control and key management. So these are some of the key points that we need with the SSL decryption. So introducing the SSL Insight, that is, let's talk about the A10 solution and what it has to contribute to decryption. So we provided SSL Insight, which is a dedicated decryption solution, a dedicated hardware appliance, which decrypt the traffic at very high rate and at very high and provides a high throughput as well. It has a multi-layer security service, which will enable the compliance, restrict and scrutinize the user access, provide consolidation of multiple security service on one platform, ease of use that really matters as per the Forrester, and centralized visibility management and policy control with uniform UI help position us as a strong contender. So to eliminate the blind spot, you will need a secure decrypt zone, which will enable your security device to detect and stop threat, which will ensure the compliance and privacy and with great security, and it will provide the standards, compliance standards that you can achieve with the the SSLi Insight like HIPAA, PCI, GDPR, and it will increase the return of investment as well. So our solution is very easy to deploy. It's user friendly. It will support your entire security ecosystem within your enterprise network. And this way, one decryption tool can serve your entire security stack, thereby reducing total cost of ownership. And on top of that, you have the policy management, which is also centralized, so that your organization can have uniform security policy applied across all deployment. And this will enable your organization to catch any traffic abnormality that would otherwise be lost due to isolated analytics at each stage. So this is what you will get into the SSLi. So I'm diving deeper into the A10 Thunder SSLi solution, what it gives you. So first is the full traffic visibility, then multi-layer security it will provide, and lastly, but not least, but most important is the analytics and the ease of use. So first, let's talk about the full traffic visibility. This includes the PFS at industry's highest performance, decrypt across all multiple products that include SSL, SSH, star TLS, XMMP, SMTP, and POP3, and dynamic port inspection to identify and decrypt SSL or TLS over any port. Full proxy architecture ensure the granular control over the traffic. And SSLi Insight, it's not disruptive. You can integrate into your network very easily, and it can be deployed as L2 or L3 device, as well as transparent or explicit proxy. So that's the beauty about it. You can have the device as transparent or the proxy device. The second point is the compliance. So in compliance, you can selectively bypass the websites or the traffic to achieve the privacy regulation that is mandatory for the HIPAA, SOX, or PCI. For example, you don't want to scan the banking websites or financial institute websites, so you can bypass that. Then decrypt traffic to stop breaches, and which will ensure your GDPR compliance and ensure your organization is safe from large fine and lawsuits. On top of that, high speed and detailed logging for the PCI and DSS compliance is there. For example, as I mentioned, healthcare website, you want to bypass due to HIPAA regulation, then personal financial data due to EU GDPR regulation. So this is what you can achieve in the SSLi inspection. The second is the multi-layer security services. So some of the feature you see here, it requires our Thunder CFWF license, but this is SSLi is not a simple decryption solution. It comes with a number of different security features and services that can be used to enhance the security of your network. So it will create an additional layer of security in addition to secure decrypt zone. So this is just a snapshot of the advanced security feature that we support on SSLi Insight, and this service are discussed in advanced feature section of this deck as well. So if I talk about you will get application visibility. That means you can identify what kind of application traffic is going, and we support more than 3,000 application. It has been categorized into 39 applications. On top of that, you have a very good threat investigator. That is a really good tool to explore and get an analytics of the data. URL web filter, which is the third point. Of course, you can block or allow the specific URL. We support the ICAP as well. So request mode as well as response mode, both is supported into the ICAP. And lastly, the threat intelligence, which we have all the data coming from our different servers which compromise the system, spammers, botnet, malware command and control infrastructure, everything. So you get update from all across the globe. So we have identified more than 27 plus billion of URLs. You can guess the number, it's a huge number. And Thunder SSLi use this kind of data to block attack to a malicious source. Lastly, the analytics and the ease of use. So you get a full feature parity with previous version of the SSLi except for troubleshooting. So you can see visual appearing design with easy button use case is the main focus in our SSLi. A typical SSLi drop-in config require only 3 steps on the wizard portion, and this design allow widely complex deployment by clicking on a customize on the first step, and all the subsequent tabs dynamically adapt to the user input that has selected in the previous step. So you can see the kind of option you get, and whenever you start to configure, you will get that information into the network diagram as well. And this configuration tab also features the configuration dashboard where user can edit L2 and L3 config on device after the SSLi has been deployed. So it's really useful for the user as well. Lastly, the enhanced logging, you will get very high speed logging to the sys. You can provide a high speed logging to the syslog and SIM solution as well. And we have the dedicated Splunk Enterprise app on the Splunk platform as well, which will greatly help you to analyze the data for the further forensics. You can see this is a dashboard, how it looks like. It's a really user friendly and interactive kind of a dashboard that you get. If you hover your mouse, you will get all the data on the page itself, and then you can click on the more specific data to get insight of a traffic. So A10 to ensure your success, it's a single installation is there. If your team is prepared to deploy your A10 solution but want to access the A10 support, the option is perfect. This option is perfect. Working remotely, A10 consultant is available from a project's kickoff through production installation. And this is a cost-effective option for supporting a new team or a new partner as they deploy the A10 solution. And A10 consultant can set up the network configuration and that guides the deployment through to installation. So they have the different package available to do the implementation for yourself. Apart from that, there is a training which is also available, instructor-based training which you can attend. So what is the next step? You can learn how the Thunder SSI can be deployed of your security infrastructure. Read our solution brief for an overview of a solution component. It's all available on the A10 website. You can watch the video as well to learn more about the common threats that are hiding behind the SSLi encryption. So you can go to the A10 website and search all the documents and the video to learn more. So it's really easy to understand the product. Thank you for your time and being in the session. So if you guys have any question, just type into the question and answer window. I will happy to answer that.